Move into an area that some people are calling new technology, but really it's just an evolution of old technology. I'm talking about cloud computing. Now, what's your definition of cloud computing?
Cloud is a term which is being used really to describe what I believe is a networked economy. And if I could just explain what I mean by a networked economy, it's simply about the network now playing a critical role in connecting people and organisations. For us, what the cloud means is that with a growing confidence about the reliability, the coverage, the intelligence within the network, organisations are more confident that they can put applications and services into the network. So if you're a corporation today, I think over the next 10 years, you will contemplate not owning any IT assets. That in actual fact, all of your requirements, all of your applications and services can exist in the data centre, in the network. And I think that's just such a fundamentally different way of thinking about consuming IT and communication services. You move from high capex models where there's been enormous investment by organisations in server infrastructure and software to moving that to an operating expenditure model where completely variable cost base now drives the way you think about incrementing your technology. And with new technologies like virtualisation, even greater compounding of those improvements.
It's a very competitive space, though. So what separates Telstra? What makes your cloud computing services unique?
There's two things that I think are really important, David. One is our network. We have invested extensively over the last 10 years in our network infrastructure, and there is intelligence in our network which we do not believe our competition have invested in. Now, the network is absolutely critical in the equation for cloud because it's no longer the commodity. It's actually so critical that that network and the intelligence in it and its reliability and robustness actually underpin the livelihood of an organisation when it carries mission-critical applications. So our network and our network investment is critical. The second part to this, which is very important and differentiates us from other players, is we're an integrated end-to-end operator. So we have the data centre, we have the network, we'll run the local area network for our customers, and we'll run the wide area network for our customers. We have all those pieces, and we have the professional services skills to design and implement and operate and run that full, complete set of components to deliver that cloud service. It's not that often that you find players in this competitive space that can bring all of that in an integrated and seamless solution.
So how should CIOs present cloud computing to the board? It's obviously potentially a daunting task to do. How do you see that performing?
I think there's a couple of things that are really important for CIOs to think about. One is clearly a cost-saving benefit, and this shift from capital investment required to meet the demands on applications and services to that becoming a variable cost which is dependent upon business demand. That's a very new and important proposition for the CIO to take to the CFO in particular and the CEO. I think, though, that what else is a couple of other things that are important. One is we think a very significant proposition for cloud is diversity. And the resilience that comes with cloud infrastructure, if you're using it as an alternate way for your applications to be stored and for your data to be stored, managing that in an environment of disaster, and let's face it, over the last 6 months we've seen some very tragic disasters around the world, here in Australia with flooding and fire, Japan and issues with earthquake and tsunami that have resulted in lots of different experiences for organisations suffering where they may not have had the diversity in place, and the impact that has in their businesses when data is lost and data centres are taken out of play is very significant. So I think diversity is a very key part to the story as well. The final point I would make for CIOs is that with cloud you have an opportunity to do test and development in a very cost-effective way. So if you as the CIO see yourself as responsible for bringing innovation into the organisation in the way that organisations serve their customers or engage their workforce, you have a low-cost, flexible investment model with cloud, which means you can do test and development in an environment which is very robust, but also very cost-effective and allows you to move in and out of applications and services very quickly.
Just an extremely brief answer to this. In 5 years' time, what percentage of organisations will be using cloud computing?
I think that's a tough one to predict, David, but certainly I think this is an irreversible trend. Consumers have voted, and cloud is here to stay.
So it'll keep growing, in other words.
I think it'll keep growing. It will grow at exponential rates.